Good evening, people, and welcome back to Where the Owls Sleep. We've had a little bit of a rejig, a little bit of a rebrand. Our midweek show will now be called The Parliament, and it's me and Stocky as always. How you doing, Stocks?
Yeah, all right, mate. Sadly, I was at work today, but I'm loving what you've been doing with your time off. Very
Oh,
professional, mate.
mate, yeah. As we moved platforms, instead of just shuffling everything over and fighting copyright laws all over again, we'll try and avoid them. Right, how's your Christmas been, mate?
Yeah, busy. I think the highlight is managed to get 2 different sets of slippers.
Oh,
Yeah, but on a football-related one,
yeah.
girlfriend got me a sort of like a little picture, and it's got all the different West Ham kits from the '60s on it, and
Oh,
like in
okay.
chrome.
Yeah, fair
So
enough, mate.
yeah, that's that. I'm well chuffed for that. And then I had a day out with my dad yesterday watching football down the pub.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that. The Boxing Day games is the best time for football, 100%.
I mean, only thing better than it would be going to watch a game. And sadly, I didn't know that Orient were at home. I would have gone and watched that maybe, but had a nice time watching Amazon in the pub.
Yeah, yeah. Amazon definitely need to get more games because their coverage of it is brilliant. Not the fact that they've just got every game, but the fact that their actual coverage and the analysis they seem to do on most of the games seems to be decent across the board.
Do you know what, mate? Even my dad mentioned that. He goes, "Why don't they just do all games like it now?" I was like, I'm surprised. Like say like the English Football League and the Premier League don't just have like a Netflix sort of thing.
Yeah, that would definitely benefit. To be fair, but obviously the 3 o'clock blackout still counts on a Saturday, so we'll struggle for that
Mm,
a little while longer yet. But
yeah.
we can all dream. We can all dream. So, speaking of Boxing Day games, the first question is really, as there's still a game going on now where Arsenal have just taken the lead, did everything else kind of fall perfectly for the leaders, Liverpool? Because Chelsea have dropped points. I know Forest won, but they're not really contenders. So you're only really looking at Chelsea and Arsenal. Do you feel Liverpool
Mm.
have had a good weekend so far, or midweek?
Yeah. I think they have, and do you know what? They just keep proving themselves over and over.
Yeah.
I think a couple of times, like say when I'm pretty sure Leicester scored first yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, they scored pretty early. It was about 6 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, and then I don't know about you, but it makes me think, oh, is this the beginning of the blip that everyone's expecting? And all right, they don't have a great half, but there's always a change, and they always come back, and that's really impressive. Like I class that as my intangibles. Is they're always you're thinking, oh, this is it, this is the start. Are they going to drop points? And then they just find another gear or find something.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's like it's great having good players, but to have that belief within your group is invaluable.
Mm. And at the minute, having Mo Salah's almost a 1-0 head start because inevitably he's going to score pretty often. Little comment from the Spurs Kings where I'll be on there. You on there Monday? We're both on there Monday, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Marlon's lost his vocabulary to a Cockney all of a sudden. Dolly bird. I can't see the words coming out of his mouth. I don't know where that's come from.
To be fair, it might be one of the others. To be fair,
Oh,
but
fair enough.
fair play to him. Fair play to him wherever it is.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Any of these other results sort of jumping out at you? I know which one jumps out at me, but my one's obvious.
Yeah. To be honest, I'll be happy for you to talk about your one in a minute, because I didn't catch that, and I didn't even catch the highlights. I watched the Man City game.
Yeah,
Uh, just it continues to be funny. Um, because obviously I'm concerned about Arsenal winning the league, because I just don't bloody like them.
yeah,
Nah, Man City is just so terrible. It's so funny. Um, Nuno against Tottenham, pleasing, and they keep up their form.
yeah. They just keep going, and I know I said probably about 6 weeks, 2 months ago that they'll fall off and drop back into the pack, and probably eventually end up finishing seventh or eighth. But every week they just keep going, keep
Mm.
going, keep proving me wrong. So now I'm really hoping for it because they're taking up a space in the top four that I've got my eyes on. So
Yeah. Um, Funny enough, yeah, with your game and then the other game, I said that I like the look of in Chelsea Fulham. That was a good game too. That's the one I
yeah,
watched in the pub. Although there was a little bit of a communication breakdown because someone tried up and getting Spurs on the telly I was watching, and we was like, no. And he's like, "Are you West Ham supporters? Do you want that on?" And we went, "No, just stick with the Chelsea game. That was perfectly entertaining."
well, talking of the Chelsea game, I wanted to have a little chat about this man here because he seems to be going under the radar. I watched a big chunk of the Chelsea game in the end yesterday because I caught up on it rather than watching it live.
Hmm.
And Chelsea could have easily put the game to bed, but they didn't. And Marco Silva made some subs. Both subs were involved in the goal. Well, pretty much all subs were involved in the goals. One of them scored the winner. And all in all, they're having a fantastic season. And there doesn't seem to be an awful lot in the media praising him too much. There seems to be a lot of names banded around as being good managers and having good seasons, but he doesn't seem to get mentioned much. Do you think he's a bit underrated, or maybe when the next big job does come available, his name will get thrown about a bit?
I think he is a bit underrated, actually. I think it was at whole everyone was banging on about him, weren't they? It
Yeah,
was like, oh yeah, the next one, and then he had a couple of moves that didn't work out so well. But I think he's done excellent. That's last season, and then this year it's gone up a level for them, and it's that easy indicator of you look at the players, like just say the usual starting 11, and then you think about what they were doing 2 years ago, and it feels like a lot of them improved.
yeah.
That's just such a key indicator. So that means they're happy, they're getting the tactics. Um, if players are improving, things are generally pretty harmonious at a club, aren't they? No matter what the level you're playing at.
Oh yeah, 100%. If the coaching's right and players are happy and things are looking like they're on the up,
Mm,
you know you're doing an awful lot right as a manager.
like,
And like you say, there's a lot of players in that team or in that squad that not too long ago were either on the bench for someone, maybe top team, or some of them were even on the bench for clubs that were sitting in and around 14th, 15th in the league, and now they're playing big
mm,
parts in what Fulham are doing.
I always used to when he was at Arsenal and the beginning of his time at Everton. I always used to laugh at Iwobi because I was like, he's the only player that dribbles with his shins.
Yeah,
Like he never looks in control of it. But since he's come more inside at Fulham, and he's just like he's harnessed that energy. I'm like, all right, he's not going to be the you wouldn't say he's like the nicest footballer aesthetically at Fulham, but they've really utilised that work rate, and like it's like an eight. He's like up and down one side, isn't it, constantly?
yeah. He plays a little bit like a wide eight, a wide box to
Yeah,
box eight.
and it works so well for him, and like especially dovetailing with like Robinson, who I've noticed, like I've seen him pop up in a lot of, when like there's gaps in the week, so like football websites would do best 11 of the season so far.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like he's in all of them regardless at the minute, and I think they're functioning so well as a team. I think with Robinson, you used to go, is he the best defender? But the team's functioning so well, you're like, oh wow, he's amazing at attacking because everything's so set for him to do that. Like
yeah,
I said, it seems to work harmoniously at the minute, and yeah, I think as a manager, he's proper gone under the radar.
yeah. 100%. Totally agree with that. And also the other thing that I was really impressed with was that they had a little bit of a formation tweak yesterday as well. It wasn't their usual because they don't normally play for unless I'm completely wrong. Every time I've watched them, it doesn't look like they're playing a three at the back, and they did
Mm,
yesterday. They had three centre backs on, and then they had Castagna and Robinson, who you was just talking back about as their wing
mm,
backs, who joined in the attack a lot. And I don't think Chelsea were expecting it as much as they still created chances. It was another one of them things that you don't really tend to see managers just do randomly unless they've had an injury crisis. That they're
mm,
doing well, winning games, and they're like, right, I'm going to change my system here, see if I can throw him a curveball, and it's still working. So I was really impressed with that from him, to be fair. And the other thing is ML Smith Rowe, who was key to pretty much everything they did earlier in the season, didn't play.
mm. Yeah, I noticed that too. Mm,
I'm not sure if he's injured or what. I don't know if he was on the bench, but when I was watching, I didn't even notice that he wasn't there. And then it sort of got to about 70th minute of what I was watching. I was like, where is Smith Rowe? Because he was class against us earlier in the season. Everything seemed to go through him, but now he's not there, and they're still picking up the results and doing really well.
mm, mm. I think I also mentioned a couple of weeks ago they do have like one player um, that I'm always happy to see playing well, and that's Jimenez.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was a pretty horrid injury he had a few years ago, and unfortunately it didn't pan out at Wolves. But yeah, he's doing so well there. I'm just like pleased every time he plays well. I just really like him as a player. And he's found his groove again, and obviously that's gonna have that was probably had a massive impact from Silva for that as well.
yeah,
All
100%.
footballers like to trust.
Yeah,
All footballers like to be told, "You're my man. You're starting. If you're fit, you're starting. I trust you." And everyone wants to hear that, and it's working for him. His goal against Arsenal the other week was fantastic. That
fantastic.
finish.
Yeah, great finish, great bit of movement before it. Lovely finish. Yeah.
Who have Fulham got in the middle of the park? I suppose they got. Did they bring on Pereira yesterday, or did he start?
Yesterday must have been it must have been Andres Pereira and that Lukic who always gets booked.
Yeah.
It must have been that, and then you would have had Iwobi on the left, but a little bit narrower with
Mm,
Robinson going on, and then you had the tank that is Adama Traore on the other side.
mm. Yeah, and also like there was like a. Do you remember the mazy run from Calvin Bassey from like centre back?
That was ridiculous,
Yeah,
like ridiculous. I was watching it thinking I've never ever seen him do this before. What is going on? And then he beat
no, neither
another,
have
and
I.
then he beat another, and then he jinked into the box, and it was like, what? What? Since when could he do
I
that?
mean, it's quite funny because if he dragged the shot a bit more, there's a tapping at the back
It's a,
post as
yeah,
well.
it's a great. If he shanks it as much as you expect him to, it's a great cross.
Mm. But it's a lovely mood, and like it's like they grass the nettle because it's one of them things. If obviously if Chelsea take the chances, this is a little bit of a well, we wouldn't probably be talking about it. We would be saying Chelsea done well again. But if you've taken your lumps, so you've weathered the storm, whether by design or luck, then to have the confidence of like, all right, we've done that, we can go and do this and win it.
Yeah,
It's one thing thinking it, and it's certainly another thing doing it.
yeah, 100%.
And they've done it well. And I suppose there's still, I don't know if the fans are still protesting about that stand and everything. Because,
I
they
think they
had
are. I think
the,
it's because the prices that it's gone up to is pretty
yeah,
ludicrous.
yeah. And I always used to say this about Moyes the greatest trick he ever pulled was we started liking the team again and stopped hating the board. So maybe Silver's doing a little bit of that at Fulham too.
Yeah, potentially. It's always once you get that feel good thing about the results, the complaints die down ever so slightly, but there'll always be rumblings of what's going on.
Yeah. And winning's a habit too. Like
Yeah,
just as losing, you can get stuck losing. When you get winning, it's a wonderful feeling.
yeah. Well, talking about getting stuck losing, this man here, he I know he's still new, still early days, and I've said many a time you can't judge someone too early, and you've got to give them time to try and work their magic.
Hmm.
But I also said that before he came in, he has to put his ego to one side, forget his system, figure out a way to get some results early because it's Man United. It's
Mm,
not like they're going to give you a year to try and figure things out. You need results. And it
mm,
seems to have gone completely the opposite way. Early on, I was actually quite impressed of how he was trying different players in different positions, see who could do what, see who couldn't do other things. But it's now got to the point where he's done all that and they're still rubbish.
mm.
Brave thing for me to say with us playing them on Monday evening because they'll probably beat us now. But they are still rubbish. And do you think, even this early on, the Man United board could be sitting there thinking, have we had a bit of a mare here? And could he be feeling a little bit of pressure? Because
Mm.
Man United is a very much a results club.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I must say, since Ferguson left, it's been the poison chalice in football.
Yeah.
The expectations are impossible, mainly because you'd say they've got a fan base like no other, and I'll be honest, I don't mean that in a positive sense.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not in the slightest.
Like, it's like a lot of them grew up thinking us having managers like Ferguson is just a norm with Manchester United, and that's it's just not how it goes, and they haven't learned the hard way. Initially, he started swinging the axe and he started shaking it up, and thought it would work, but um, I'm just not. I'm not sure. I think he really want. I think he can do it, but as you say, he's on such a short leash,
Yeah.
and they're like a. I'm not sure how the club was bought, but no doubt it's highly leveraged.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So they need to be in these competitions. They need to be in the Champions League every year and things like this, and being in that, like, they can't keep getting away with saying we're Man United. We'll sell some shirts and we'll go to Singapore for a fortnight. Like, at some point, they're going to have to get back to these competitions, and the way they're playing at the minute, that's certainly not going to happen. But um, sometimes, like, at certain teams, you say, "Oh, this is a manager problem." But I'd say for him at the minute on the outside, but it's the club, like everything, like, and he's going to have to carry the can for lots of poor buyers. And all right, they're not the worst players in the world, but when you look at the money spent on them, and you're like, well, it just doesn't work out. And their best player has been Ahmad, or not. Well, their most effective player. I think he's a little, but again, it was the Manu thing. He's like, oh, he's young, he's from us, he's doing well, he's amazing. Like, he's effective.
Yeah.
He was
I've got a
effective.
bit of a
You got a gripe.
I have got a bit of a gripe with the Ahmad thing. It started off a little bit tongue in cheek. And then I really started to look a little bit deeper into it because you know Jamal, who I've always gotten really well with.
Mm.
We was always winding people up together on Twitter, and
Uh,
now some of them have disappeared. So I ended up just trying to wind him up, and that is what it started as.
all
But when I actually started looking deeper into it, like this is their savior. This is apparently the guy that's going to take them forward. His stats as a winger, which you kind of got to look at, and I don't just mean goals and assists. I'm talking about progressive passes, chances created, giving the ball away, stuff like that. They're worse than Jacob Murphy's.
right.
Jacob Murphy is the one player in our starting 11 that every single Newcastle fan will agree that we need to upgrade. And Ahmad is Man United's star man.
Mm.
Like, this isn't me trying to put Ahmad down. This is me saying, is this really how far Man United have fallen? Because this shouldn't even be a conversation that someone who gets similar stats across the board to Jacob Murphy is looked at as this saviour and the guy that's going to carry them forward and the one that has to play every week.
Mate, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's the perfect indication of how far their standards have dropped. Um, and like, I know that this Radcliffe bloke is supposed to want to change everything, but you got to be, for a club like that. They barely register as a club. They're essentially a company with that accompany his team, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, so they need to sort themselves out at the top. And like, are we going to have a plan? Like, they've done all this. They've moved all this heaven and earth to get. Was it Dan Ashworth? And then they've just let him go at 6 months.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and that they'll say, "Oh, we only paid 2 million." It was much closer to 10 than it was to two,
Oh, really?
and I think they paid more than £1 million a month for what they paid for him, which is ridiculous when
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
about it. It's just such a badly run club. On the
Mm,
To be fair, something's just come to mind. On the flip side of that, do you think, as much as it is different owners run slightly different now, do you think Ferguson just got bored of papering over cracks? Because ever since he left, the cracks are appearing more and more and more. And he just seemed to manage to get a tune out of everything playing wise, whereas no one else has seemed to be able to do that.
mm. Uh, I'd say uh, it's a difficult one because it's a long time ago, but he just ruled the entire club.
Yeah.
Like everything went to his tune. And when I suppose if the person running it is when the person running a football club is a football man that's won football trophies, and let it not be forgotten, he didn't just win European trophies at Man United. He won them at Aberdeen too.
Yeah.
So we're talking the best of the best in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like,
It's unprecedented,
yeah,
unprecedented what he did.
yeah. And so it was being run like a football club, perhaps. And then no one that comes in after him, I'd say the closest you'd get is sort of Mourinho, Van Gaal. But they wouldn't have a control of a club like Ferguson did.
Mm.
So everything gets left to other people that um, I don't mean to make this sound so insular, but not football people.
Yeah,
Like,
there's too many
yeah,
people who will be looking to try
desk
and
jockeys.
get the balance book to work and all of that, and not
Mm,
just focusing on the football side. I think that's where
yeah.
a lot of clubs get it confused. They have the same
Oh,
person that does
totally.
both things.
Totally, 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 totally. Yeah, it's what I know. I have many bugbears. I'm pretty sure I say that every fucking week. It's one of my bugbears, but that really is. Football clubs ain't businesses because there's theory to business. There ain't no theory to football clubs.
Mm.
um, yeah, and it feels like it's getting worse and worse for everyone down the line. Um, and like maybe I don't know if you had it on your caption, but like, is it too big for him? A club that size is pretty much too big for nearly every manager. Yeah, I think it's one you have to grow into. I don't think anyone will ever crack it straight away from the start. And
Mm.
when he axed Rashford, I'm like, fair enough. He axed Garnacho. I was like, I like the look of him because I don't. I think Garnacho is massively overrated.
Yeah, I think
Well,
there's loads of them that are though.
yeah, and like, yeah, just poor recruitment and everything. And I think if they're willing to stick with him, I think it would get better. But it's an awfully painful journey
Yeah,
because if you was to like get a squad list up and say, in an ideal world, who would you keep? Who would you get rid of? There, there ain't many.
no.
There ain't
Well,
many you keep
on
in
that,
mind.
there was a discussion on the Newcastle forum, obviously because we played on Monday, and someone asked the question of how many of the United team would you take in R11, and I don't normally post an awful lot on there, but I saw someone post saying that they would take Anana, Bruno Fernandes, Ahmad, and Mainu. And I looked and I thought, I thought I've got to reply to this. So I went through each one by one. I was like, Bruno Fernandes would have to replace our Bruno in the role he's currently playing. That's not even a conversation that anyone's going to be willing to have because for me, it's not close
Mm.
at all. It's close, like goals and assists. Bruno's miles better, but that is what he does. He's a petulant little idiot. He's not a leader. He doesn't. He's not conducive to the way that we would want to play, and he doesn't keep the ball well at all.
Mm.
Mainu, he's another one. He's the one that I was going to make fans about last season. but it
Mm,
wasn't even tongue in cheek. I have never rated him. I don't think he's very good. I don't know what his attribute is. And this season, he's completely crap. Like he gives the ball away now, like 5 or 6 times out of 10. He he's always in the wrong position defensively. He doesn't really contribute to the attack. Like what do you do as a centre midfielder? And the only reason I had the gripe about Mainu is because he was the media darling. And it
mm,
was like, I don't get it. I don't get why he's the media darling. I was watching players like Adam Walton who are having fantastic seasons, who
mm,
should have had all the clamour around him because he was brilliant for the end of last season. Fair enough, he hasn't been the same this season, but he was brilliant at the end of last season.
yeah.
And then Ahmad, okay, much of a muchness, him for Jacob Murphy. But if we're going to improve Jacob Murphy, let's massively improve Jacob Murphy. Let's not bring someone in who's younger, could potentially be a bit better, but not really. Because I look at him and I watch him play, and he reminds me of Christian Atsu, but not Christian Atsu Chelsea. Christian Atsu while he was at Newcastle and was on the downward way. That is what Ahmad initially reminded me of. The Jacob Murphy thing just came after when I decided to look at stats. And as
Mm.
for Anana, he's just crap. I didn't even give him explanation. He's just
What are you feeling about um, that Cunha goal? If you're the goalkeeper and you're surrounded by 4 players, are you not saying to one of your lumps, come in here and move him? I
even
thought Joe Hart said a couple of bits on Match of the Day, which was quite interesting to hear from a goalkeeper perspective.
yeah.
He's the one that engaged with his marker, so he's not
Yeah.
concentrating on the ball. I found
That's
that
it.
quite interesting and surprised me actually for Joe Hart. I
But
thought it was going to be like a proper goalkeeper union.
no, Joe Hart just calls it how he is. I like it how he does that. It's a bit like what Fraser Forster does on his podcast. When he's not on like a Sky thing, Fraser Forster's really good on his podcast because he calls out stuff exactly how it is. But
Fraser Forster was in the
not
Tottenham
Fraser
goalkeeper.
Forster. What's his name?
Ben Foster.
Ben Foster. That's the one. Sorry, bit of a brain freeze there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, no, the Anana thing is that's absolutely pathetic. It's like when you see a centre back, the ball gets pumped long, and they're too busy worrying about giving the striker a nudge, and then the ball goes over their head.
Yeah,
It's like
he never
you're
let it
going to win
bounce.
it. If he doesn't bump into the guy in front of him, he can take a couple of steps back and catch it.
Hmm.
Like there's four, and like you said, there's 4 players around him. Either call 1 or 2 in, or just concentrate on the flight of the ball. Forget the players around you. Concentrate on the flight of the ball. If you're making a very good attempt to get the ball and someone clatters into you, you get a free kick. You're a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
as soon as you initiate contact, you get no sympathy.
hmm, yeah.
Just
Because
crap.
yeah, and then while we're talking about the goals conceded, I just said Garnacho's a bit shit, and he loses it in the build-up for the second in the
Yeah. And what they,
being
I know
soft.
they're chasing a goal. That defensive line to have 2 players beyond your player furthest back that are still in their own half is just stupid. I don't care what
Mm,
you're trying to do, how many goals you're trying to score. That is dumb. Never ever
mm,
should you do that. Maybe if you leave one that's right on halfway, and then you gamble on that one being, say, it's a Van Dyke, and you gamble on the long ball going to the other guy, and you think, right,
yeah,
we need a goal. But if it goes long, Van Dijk's either going to get there or he's going to close the other guy down well enough to stop him feeding the other guy.
mm,
But they were beyond the last man, but still in their own half.
yeah, yeah. It weren't good, and I chuckled when I watched that on Match of the Day.
Oh, mate. I watched it live and I was just dumbfounded. And Arnold was basically still in his 6 yard box.
Yeah, yeah. It's about the only time he's ever been in his 6 yard
Like,
box, isn't it?
it's crazy. You play a line that high, the keeper should at least be 30 yards out. Nice little rant on Man United, which is going to annoy me even more when we lose on Monday and we
Yeah,
have
you're
to.
reminded of it constantly.
Yeah, I know. It's a good thing not many people watch because I'm not that likely to get clipped, so it should be all right.
Yeah.
Right, last
Yeah.
subject of the evening. Again, something I spoke about a little while back when we did a little bit of a tactical analysis before Newcastle West Ham.
Mm,
Wasn't something I was expecting to come as quickly as it has, but I did touch on a bit of Bruno and Tonali playing a sort of rotating six. And for the last four games, that's what they've pretty much done. Tonali sits in, Bruno plays the right eight. The guy in the background, Joe Linton, when he's not suspended, plays the left eight. And my word, we play some ridiculous football that like that at the minute. Like Tonali is unbelievably good. I saw glimpses of him, and I always thought this guy's going to be mustard. But he is different levels of good now. He's playing in the six. He plugs gaps better than any midfielder I've ever seen for Newcastle, and he's just like he controls the tempo of the game. I love Bruno to bits. He controls games in a way that like he likes to be on the ball and he likes to try and dictate, but he plays. He's so positive with what he's trying to do. It turns into a basketball match. So
mm,
if we're 2-1 up and we're a little bit under the cosh and you need someone to slow the game down, Bruno's not the one you want controlling the game because he'll turn
mm,
and he'll try and play a forward pass and we'll try and attack. And if we lose it, it's then the transition that we get done on. But
mm,
Tonali he's just so good at slowing the game down. He's got that thing about him that the ball comes into him and when it gets within a couple of yards of him, everything seems to slow down and he takes his touch or he plays a first time pass and then all of a sudden he's in acres and acres of space and it's just like
mm.
it's
Yeah. Well,
so
I was, you know me, a couple of years ago, I was all right, Serie A nerd, and I
yeah,
was watching it all the time. And I was shocked when you got him. I was like, something going on here. Like, I'm not sure why Milan let him go. Obviously, we found out in the end. One of the happy passion was a bit fucking sneaky. But yeah, he is quality. And, you know, fair play to Hal for making it work. Again, harmonious thing. You got your form back and everything's going well, and he's found a new way to win games. And he's maximizing everyone's ability in there.
hmm,
And he really is a dictator, isn't he?
yeah,
Like a dictator of tempo, sort of. Big shoes to mention, but like the kind of Xavi control over a game.
yes,
It's not a physical thing. It's the passing. Oh, we look good to quicken it up, and he'll punch one in,
yeah,
or just buy time, move people about, like he's playing his own chess game.
yeah, 100%. And you said it's not the physical thing, but his running power I think is probably one of the most underrated features he's got. He is
Yeah.
very quick and he reads the game so well. He's one of them players that if like I knew a young player who wanted to play the six and they still had player cam on Sky, I would say get it on Tonali
Mm,
because he is constantly scanning. And in the last half hour, 20 minutes of games, he'll pop up at centre back, left back, right back, and it sort of gets to the point in the game where the game's won, and he's like, "I'm just going to sit in, and if anybody goes, I'm just going to fill the gap."
mm,
And it's been a very like I don't actually think I've ever seen another Newcastle player do it as well as he does ever.
mm. Yeah. Hmm. And so with Tonali doing that, essentially, does Gomes just get further forward
He gets
and they
much
swap
further
him in
forwards.
the game?
He sort of bombs into the box a bit more. We're finding Isak a bit more because Bruno's getting it 30 yards higher up. And the ball
Yeah.
into Isak is a natural pass now rather than having to miss people out to get there. We just looks like. Have you seen the highlights of our goals at all?
No, yours was the only one I missed.
So trying to think, what the first was very early, but again, like the first goal even typifies it. So I think Villa might have had two touches. The ball's gone up in the air, they've won a header. It's dropped into Kamara in midfield. Tonali's Buster got to get there. Kamara's took a bit of a bad touch. Tonali's nicked it. Bruno's got it early. Into Jolinton, into Gordon, got.
mm,
But the second goal is the one to watch because we keep the ball for quite a while, sort of over in the sort of attacking wide right area in the half space there.
mm,
And it keeps going to Nali, Bruno, Murphy, Trippier between the four. And it comes into Bruno's feet and he sort of shifts it inside and then flicks his foot round it and clips it with the outside of his right back into Murphy's path. And then that gives him an easy pass into Isaac that gives Isaac a complete tap in.
mm,
And it's the kind of positions that we saw him in early on when he came in when Shelby was playing the six, which
mm,
allowed him to play higher up. And we're seeing it again.
mm,
And as much as he was brilliant in the six, he's so much better higher up the pitch.
mm,
So much better because his eye for a pass is unreal.
mm. Could I be a dick and ask if Villa were down to 10 at this point?
Villa were down to 10 after 20 minutes. So, yeah, we were 1 0 up when they went down to 10.
Um, just quickly, how do you feel about that, Red?
Um, I've seen a lot of debate about it. For me, it's Stonewall because like he stamps on him twice, and after the first one, his the second stamp, his foot comes in towards Shah when it's initially going to land to the side of him. So I don't think he can have many complaints. But I have seen a lot of people sort of arguing he was a little bit unfairly treated, which
Mm.
I can't see myself.
Mm, I thought, because I read, obviously, I was watching other games, so I sort of read that it'd like stamped twice. The first one's an accident. I think the second one he could do more to
Mm.
not tread on him. And that's how I feel. And if the refs give it for the second one, thinking that he can perhaps avoid the contact, the first one, I can. These things happen. I know it fucking hurts, as we both know, but sometimes these things happen. But the second one, I think he could do more.
Yeah. I actually
Is
think if you do watch it again, the first one,
mm,
if you watch how he straightens his leg,
mm,
it makes it look a lot worse when you look at it once you've heard that.
I,
Because he lands on him straight legged, which
okay,
doesn't make any sense.
yeah, yeah. You never want to land straight legged. All right, fair. I just thought I'd ask because I've only watched it the once and sort of like when you see it quickly on the telly or on
Yeah.
TikTok or something like that. But yeah, if I get the chance, I keep thinking I've got work tomorrow. It's Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll probably have a look. I'll probably have a look.
It's weird. It's Saturday and there's no Premier League football. It's just odd.
I know, I know. Is there any football league on?
Yeah, football league must be on. They don't tend to mess theirs up, do they, for Christmas normally. Well, I'll have a quick look,
Oh,
but I'm sure football league will be on.
I was going to say, or as it looks like
Oh,
I've
no,
got
there's
a day.
not. There's not, mate.
Oh,
You're gonna
mate,
have to.
what?
You're gonna have
What's
to
that?
get on the Italian stuff or something.
Nah, mate, I ain't got the access no more. Funny enough, though, do you know what I will do? I'm going to play Championship Manager 3.
Well, decent.
I
That's
have to send
definitely
you.
a very decent substitute for any football being on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got anything else from the weekend after?
Not really got anything else set up, but I watching match of the day, and you had a red card overturned.
That is uncanny, mate, because that's what I was going to mention. Because I think a referee going to the screen actually worked.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good decision, and that Guido's hot-headed
Mm.
at best, but he kind of done well to move his feet out of the way. And Walker Peters jumped around and complained like he wanted to go over, but he was like, "I've barely been touched. I've got to
Mm.
have the up now, like I've been hurt."
But it was one of them that it looked like he went to do him and then thought, okay, I need to pull out of this. And he pulled
Yeah,
out and stopped, but slipped, which made it
yeah,
look a little bit worse in full
mm,
speed. Once you watch it back a little bit
yeah,
slower, you're like, yeah, there's
yeah.
nothing in there.
Yeah, and and I said I don't like VAR, and I don't think it's always used to its potential. Um, but you got to put your hands up when there's a decision that goes your way, and it's a correct one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was impressive. I thought Chelsea Everton's equaliser was a lovely
Oh, yeah.
touch and shot in one motion. Oh my god, there's
Excellent
nothing
finish.
nothing makes me happier as like a striker, a former striker, watching someone bring it in and then catch it on the half bud in one motion.
Hmm. All with the same foot as well.
Yeah, yeah, and do you know what? It just looks such a pretty goal, like the way it just drifts away from the keeper into the
That one
into the bar.
and the Muniz winner, proper strikers' goals. Different reasons, but similar-ish amount of time to do what they had to do. So I can't remember the guy's name from Everton, but touch on the right outside of the right far corner. But
There is
Muniz was like touch across and then left foot back across, which is just like, yeah, perfect.
yeah, yeah. Who have your boys got on? Is it Sunday?
No, we're Monday night away to Man United.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you've only said it
So
about 4 times. After your performance yesterday, how do you think you'll get on with that?
I can't see how we don't beat them, and I can't see how we don't beat them by at least 2 goals, because I look at their front line and I think there shouldn't be anything there that troubles us. And then the defense is a bit ropey, and they're also now without Bruno Fernandes and without Ugarte. So the guy that tackles in midfield is not playing, and the guy that creates in midfield is not playing. So if we lose from here, we're just destined to basically never win at Old Trafford in the league.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I reckon 2 goals. I reckon it'd be quite a comfortable 2 goal win.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. It's a shame none of our Man United mates are watching this. We would have got a right nibble off that. Although they seem pretty dejected at the minute. I've seen so many tweets about if we lose Monday night, we're in a relegation battle. Things
yeah.
like that.
I think fortunately for them, the relegation battle is so far behind everything else that they won't get dragged in. But any other season, I reckon they potentially could get dragged in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, like as a West Ham supporter, I've constantly been complaining how bad we've been this year.
Mm.
Um,
You are having a little bit of
and
a
we're
resurgence, though.
mate. It's I feel it's the results look improved, but the performances are not. Um, I think we're winning on individual moments or getting results from individual moments.
But hasn't he just
Um,
kind of moised it a bit and tightened it up at the back? And he's kind of relying on that going forward, or are you just not conceding goals but conceding
yeah,
shots?
or that's his. Oh no, we're still getting dominated. I think
Mm.
the change of keeper helped. Fabianski's largely been excellent, although funny enough, he made a mistake for the Brighton goal the other day. But largely, he's been excellent, and looks like he got a nasty injury yesterday.
Yeah, is there any news
Like
on that? Because he looked in a bad way.
Lopetegui said he had he managed to speak to him afterwards. So
Ah, that's good then.
like if he's speaking, that's good. But obviously, and quite rightly, with the concussion protocols they have these days, I assume he'll be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. If they
Uh,
even have stuff like that in boxing, and it looked like he was still trying to do the motion he was doing when he went to catch the ball when he hit the floor,
yeah,
which is never a good sign.
yeah, yeah. So he'll get looked after, and thankfully, it doesn't seem too bad. But yeah, as I was saying, I've constantly been complaining, even in the West Ham sport, that we've been poor this year, and we are now on the same points as Tottenham. I
West Ham
think
Man
we might
United.
be on this. Yeah, and it goes into a point last week where what's a fucking bananas season. Although for West Ham, I'd say this ain't very good. Imagine being the other two that actually have grandeurs of being good.
Yeah, so like I get what you're saying, but say we were just talking about Fulham having a decent season. Aston Villa, most would say, are having a decent season. Brentford are brilliant at home, crap away, but still having a decent season. What are you? You're a point off Brentford, 3 points off Brighton, and 5 points off Villa.
Mm,
And we're one game away from halfway through. And all three of them teams would look at it and be like, they're doing all right.
yeah, it's funny. Like I don't know how we're doing it, to be honest, because uh, we made Southampton look alright in places, and they're dreadful, and we made them look alright, but somehow we're getting away with it. And I say sometimes people are happy to be a lucky manager, but the whole reason we got rid of Moyes was to improve things generally, and they're not improved, but somehow we're getting results, which we weren't doing at the beginning, but it feels a little bit more by luck than judgment. Like I
Mm.
want to see a team be a team, if you know what I mean. I want us to win it, not absolutely shit out as it every week. But
Playing a
maybe
little
we
bit
need
devil's
them.
advocate,
Yeah,
but you have to give him a little bit of.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
he's
I
getting
do.
lucky, but the flip side of him potentially getting lucky is, do you not have to give him a little bit of credit for potentially going, you know what? I've tried to improve the way we played and it
Oh
didn't
man.
work. So
Yeah,
I'm going to use what Moyes did and I'm going to use that back bit of Moyes' bit just to try and solidify for a little while. And we can worry about playing better
yeah,
in a little while once we get a few more
yeah.
results.
Definitely, definitely. I'm happy for him to do that. What annoys me, and again, it's a club thing. If they were happy when Moyes done it, it weren't good enough. But we've got someone else in to do the same thing that we was doing before. We was always sold as, oh, we're gonna. But for him, I desperately did want to be one of those people like get him out, get him out. We've got to give him a fair go, and hopefully, recent results we get him. Well, it should buy him more time to implement it. But
Yeah,
in terms of that, there's a way to go, but the results help.
fair enough.
Yeah. Um, Although we're at home to Liverpool on Sunday evening, so I don't care what we're doing. They look a good side.
Yeah, what is it at London Stadium? Yeah,
Yeah, it's at the soccer bowl.
fair enough. Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday at 5:15.
Looking forward to that one, and I'm definitely going to tune into that. Uh, might have to the Sunday sessions, which we've missed the last few weeks, will probably be back Sunday. It will be without Stocky. I'm going to
Mm,
get a special guest for the evening as he's at the London Bowl Stadium, and yeah, we will either be back on this one or the following Sunday sessions, I suppose.
mm. Look at us with planning ahead.
Yeah, I know, crazy. Anyone would think we're enjoying doing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, it's it's fun. We can be as nerdy as we want, or as we can complain as much as we want. It's quite nice.
Yeah, we haven't even started. We haven't even got into the nerdy side of it yet. We've got plenty of that to come. So, if
Yeah.
anybody likes the nerdy side of football, me and Stocky will show you plenty of that over the next few months. Right, we've got to near enough 50 minutes. We might as well do a little bit of. I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here because I heard the saying from you first. The name "Where the Owls Sleep." We've
Oh
never
right.
it. We've never gone into what it's all about. Do you want to explain a little bit of where it comes from?
Yeah. So we decided we was gonna uh do a little pod, sort of like YouTube video channel, and we wanted a sort of a footballing term, but slightly whimsical. And funny enough, it was going to be the corridor of uncertainty, weren't it?
Yeah.
Where you whip the ball in between the penalty spot and the 6 yard box. But after Mitch's strong research, he found out there was like 18 cricket podcasts called that.
Actually, I think that was prompted after Sam said, "Actually, that's more of a cricket term."
Oh, was it? Oh, I'd always used it as football, but then I've since watched a lot of cricket, and it is absolutely a cricket term. And then, unfortunately, I've not got the book to hand, but I had a book from, I think it was Adam Criches or something like that, called, um, I can't remember the name of it, but essentially what it is, it's football phrases, but from around the world. And where in this country we'd say top bins, postage stamp, in Brazil, it is, they call it where the owls sleep. They call the top corner where the owls sleep.
There you go.
And then after searching through the book, I thought that was the most whimsical one that wasn't too rude or really obscure, because there were some insane ones.
Yeah. And to in our defense, this isn't us trying to be niche or cool or anything like that. It is actually something we were saying before even spoke about doing a podcast. It was something we'd say when we saw goals that went in the top corner, because Stocky had seen the term long before we decided to do this. So it
Mm,
wasn't a case of searching for something random and niche. It was just one of the terms we had used between us and our little group of friends beforehand that seemed to fit quite well.
yeah, yeah. If only I knew that phrase when I could actually kick a ball near the top corner.
That could have brought on all kinds of celebrations.
Yeah, yeah. Especially me being the dumpy owl in the background.
Oh, right. I suppose that sort of wraps us up for the evening.
Yeah, successful. You've had managed to have a Newcastle loving, and we've dug out Man United. That's a successful evening, isn't it?
It's always a good evening for me. Hopefully, come Monday evening while we're sat on Spurs Kings TV, I can be having a similar evening as we put Man United to the sword and make it six losses out of eight or whatever their run is at the minute.
Oh, really cool. Manchester's shit place to support football in a bit. Well, none of them
None of
none
them
of
are
them
from
really come from Manchester.
Manchester.
But yeah, they're having a real bad time. I think Salford's the boom club in that region at the minute, isn't it?
And City have got them in the cup, so we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Oh, that would top it off, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, that would be on. But that's only a couple of weeks away as well. That's the first weekend in Jan, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because you've got
We'll have Man United, then we've got Bromley, then we've got Tottenham
yeah,
away.
Bromley.
Yeah,
Bromley, yeah, yeah. There's a couple of big things in that. Now we might have to do a little FA Cup special, because actually third round is what I like. The first round because you get all the weird teams on BBC,
yeah,
and then third round is where it's exciting because those smaller teams get a lot more exposure, which is why I like it.
yeah. Well, we'll have to see how our weeks are. If we can get another midweeker in, we can have a little chat about the upcoming FA Cup and some of the great games over the years. And if not, we'll do it on the Sunday sessions.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great because West Ham and Newcastle have traditionally lost to smaller teams, so we could have a right laugh with that.
I've got plenty of those.
Yeah,
We might want to do 2 hours on that. We can do an hour each on humiliating FA Cup exits.
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, I suppose
Right.
that on that positive note, we might as well wrap it up there, mate.
Yeah, last one, mate. Pleasure as always. See
See you soon.
you later, everybody.